How many tyres we got, Seth? Too many. Too many. So, I've been running the Minion DHR2 on the front for... Excuse my voice, I just got out of bed. I've been running it for a few weeks up the front. And a lot of people run them up the front. A lot of people like to run them front and rear. My go-to is the DHF Maxx Grip XOTR up the front. The double down and DH are quite heavy, but right circumstances you definitely run the heavier compounds. But anyway, DHF versus DHR2 up front, compound for compound. So Maxx Grip, Maxx Terra, not a big fan of. Love the Maxx Terras in the back. They're good in the front as well, but if there's more grip, get it. You know what I mean? Like, if your front end can be safer and stick better in bad situations, then why wouldn't you? It's a no-brainer. So Maxx Grip always up the front. Now, rolling resistance, I don't think there's too much in it. Maybe the DHR2 is probably a little bit quicker than the DHF, a little bit more sprightly. Tracking, so DHF tracks better. DHF holds a straight line better and feels more damped, feels more supple. It's a slightly heavier tyre, compound for compound, and casing for casing. I think it might be 50 grams, 50 to 100 grams, something like that. The DHR2 tends to feel more lively. It'll turn when you want it to turn a little easier, whereas the DHF really keeps you on your line and feels very secure on the ground. The DHF feels real secure, corners wicked, everything feels phenomenal on the DHF. The DHR2 just feels a little more alive and a little less trustworthy ride. So I'd say that if the Minion holds you up 100% and then lets you go at 100%, the DHR2 lets you go at 95%. So there's probably 5% difference. That's just that. I mean, that's totally subjective, but that's kind of what it feels like. Like I can get in a stickier situation with the DHF where it'll hold on, where the Minion DHR2 feels like it's just doesn't quite have that hay going, especially braking under heavy braking on an angle. The DHF is the king. DHR2 just feels like it's just going to let go, so you've got to be a little bit more sensitive. That said, I think that comes down to its suppleness, because it's not quite as supple as the DHF. It's not, it just doesn't hold on quite as much. So what I'm thinking is a lot of guys that I know that run the DHR2 run them in a downhill casing. So we got the downhill casing right here. DHR2 2.4 Maxx Grip downhill casing, and I have a high roller 2 Maxx Grip downhill casing as well, both tubeless ready. So 1255 grams I think for the high roller 2, 1190 for the DHR2. DHF is I think it's high 12s, close to 13. So DHR2 DH casing, a little bit lighter than the DHF, and I think being that it's a DH casing, it's going to be more supple. So it's going to give me the suppleness that this EXO DHR2 is missing, and it'll make it feel a little bit more like the DHF in the EXO with the suppleness, with a little bit more of a lively ride, a little bit more responsive turning characteristics. That's the biggest thing between these two tyres. The DHR2 seems to have a more responsive turning characteristic, but not necessarily more grip. Definitely not more grip. So a little bit more lively tyre. So I'm going to put these on and see how they feel. No inserts. So I've got the Effetto Mariposa insert in the front tyre of my front wheel, which is just a light piece of foam, kind of like a Huck Norris. And in the back I always run a cush core. So being that I'm going to run a DH casing, I'm going to leave the cush core out just so I can keep the weight similar. Bike's already quite heavy. And we'll see how this combo goes. I like the high roller 2 on the back, it seems to pedal well. Eventually I'll probably go DHR2 downhill casing front and back, but for now it's going to be DHR2 front, high roller 2 rear, DH casing all round, and Minion DHR2. If it's in EXO, it's good enough. It is good enough for sure. You've seen, like I did that KOM the other day on the patrol. You know, saying that KOM won't stand, but it was a fast run, and definitely an honourable lap for sure. So the DHR2, it is good, it is great, but it's just not quite as supple and as trustworthy right on the edge of the just before it lets go. I feel like the Minion I can hold on to a little bit better, and I think that comes mainly from the suppleness of the tyre. DHR2 just doesn't feel as supple, and it's not quite as heavy, so a little bit lighter duty maybe.